We're going to talk about the Cambridge Glass Library, and just out of curiosity, who has visited the Cambridge Glass Library thus far? Okay, more than I thought. So, excellent. We did put a little article in the Crystal Ball earlier, and even if you don't know what it is yet, or if you've been there a little bit, hopefully we'll give you some incentives to visit, and when you visit, give you a little more confidence on how to use it. So this whole process started, I apologize for being a little windy at the beginning, but Dave and I started digitizing the archives about 2 years ago, and that was a monumental task, and we're not done. So then the next thing is, all right, we've done this, how can we make it usable and accessible to everyone so that you can do a little bit of research if you want to? So then Dave, we talked, had phone calls. A normal day is we talk 5 or 6 times a day on the phone. And if it gets real serious, then we call up a Zoom session. But it's all good because we hash through all this and try to find the best solution for you. So we knew we wanted a digital library, and it will contain Cambridge Glass information, which you'll see in a second, available to anyone, members or non-members, and searchable. So you should be able to go in, and if you're looking for something specific or general, to be able to do a search. This is what the front door of the library looks like, and it's easy to get to. You just go to your search engine and type in cambridgeglasslibrary.com, no spaces. There is another easy way to get there as well, and that's to go to the MVSG website, and it's on one of the third icon on the top row. Just click it and you're in. So I'll talk more about this, and I know in my heart of hearts you'll go to your room tonight and pull this up and read every word and study it, and yeah. But across the top there is a home, FAQs, indexing status, I'll touch on that. And at the bottom, well, in the middle there's navigation aids and so forth, and at the bottom, which is what most people do, oh, I'm going to enter the library, and I'll go in and work, and it'll all be wonderful. So, enter the library. We click the button. This is what the first page of the library looks like. So what is available to you? Well, I've broken it down line by line so you can see it. On the top line are all the catalogs that we know about that Cambridge produced, some of which you've never seen before. So through private collections or making corrections, additions, so forth, we have now added. There are 13 catalogs that you can look at, all the way from 1903 all the way to the latest catalog, I believe was what, 56, yeah. And you can't see it very well, but there's a little arrow at the end, and you can just scroll through those a page at a time to get where you want to go. So on the next line are the price lists, and I know you're thinking, oh yeah, and I want to call up the 1903 price list, and I want to be able to order things at that price. Wrong, yeah. The key on price list, the catalog lists some information, but it's not very complete. The price list will be more specific. They may say the different sizes, they may say it comes in a set or not. So there is a lot of additional information that you can see in the price list. And we have 31 price lists available. The next line down is the circular letters. And I know some people say circular letter, that sounds like circular file. No. Circular letters are the name that Cambridge had. They're typing up adjustments, news things, specials out to the sales force. So there's a lot of good information in there too. Now I will tell you there's 2 different ways that we put things in the library. One is what we call fully indexed, and I'll show you that process. It's pretty involved. The other one is OCR, and the circular letters are all OCR, optical character recognition. Thank you. I knew I'd forget that. So the computer does that. It's good if it's all typed, but there can be some things missing. So are we going to go back eventually and do full index? Yes, but it's going to take a while. We have priorities. Next one is pharmaceutical catalogs. So for all you chemists and people interested in the medical profession and so forth, you might like to see all these strange devices that were produced back when. Specialty and barware, there are 5 catalogs. Some burst all the way to the rock crystal 1940 catalog. And it doesn't matter where it is. If you do a search, it'll hit on the right place for you. Any questions so far? You say, this is the most interesting thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, wow. This is what we get most of the time. Why should I care? I like my hard copy books. I like to tote this huge barrel of books around with me. I don't want to be able to pull things up on my phone. So if I'm in an antique shop or somewhere else, so that's kind of why we did it. But even if you only use this library like you would a hard copy, you're still ahead. So you can go to the 3034 catalog in the library and open it up and go through it page by page, just like you would a book. Or, I'll show you later on, you can actually search and get to the right page without flipping through everything else. Now, some of you have been using books long enough to know, well, I know it's on page 34-2. We're not all that smart. So you do get improved images. Dave's done a lot of things. Corrected pages, added pages, additional information you haven't seen before. So just as an example, here's a 2729 catalog, the way it appears in the library. So you'll see the main image, and then off on the left will be the thumbnail pages. And you can click on any of the thumbnail pages or scroll through that and get to where you want to go. Come on in. So, short explanation, going like where it says page 41, there's a left arrow. Ralph.
At the bottom of the last thing, you had session numbers. What were those?
Those are the accession numbers where we put it from the archives. It's an archival number, inventory number. So, yeah, it doesn't mean anything probably to me and Dave. Okay. Yeah. And you can see this catalog appears in several different inventory numbers. Okay. So on the left-hand side of page 41, if you click that arrow, that's the last hit. So let's say we pull up a catalog and we have 5 hits in the catalog. It doesn't always start on hit 1. So you can go backwards. So if you go on the right-hand side of page 41, you can click next hit. You can zoom in and zoom out in the next section. Fit to width is that horizontal arrow. Fit to height is a vertical arrow. You can rotate it. Some pages are upside down. That's the way they were in the catalog. So you can hit that and rotate it back up so you can read. Print. If you hit print, you're not going to print the whole catalog. You're going to print that page only. Okay?
You're actually not going to print either. It produces a PDF, which
then
you
you
can
gotta
then print.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. We have a love-hate relationship. No. And full screen, if you want to expand whatever it is to your screen so you can see it. Sound good? We're all still enthralled. So that's what a page looks like on a 2729 catalog. Looks kind of like if you had a 2729 catalog in your hand. Okay. If you go, there's tabs across the top that say Browse Collections, Browse Titles, Simple Search, Search Results, and Help. If you want to search, guess which one of those you click? Simple Search. You guys are on it. Unfortunately, simple search is not so simple. You knew there had to be a catch. Yeah. So if you hit simple search, this will come up. And you can see, you can search in collections, you can search all, you can just search catalogs. I would suggest you just leave it on all. You can always ignore the other things. And we're going to type something in the search for field, and then we're going to click search. Not very complicated. And when you do that and it's search, it will come up exactly what you're looking for. We all know that computers do what we ask them, and sometimes that's not what we meant. So, all right, I'm looking for a good search term. Oh, somebody yelled out Elaine Bowl. Thank you for that. It staged a little bit. Someone actually, at one of our meetings during test, did ask for Elaine Bowl, so I didn't make this up, but I know how it's going to come out. Let's try it. So I typed in Elaine Bowl, and I'm going to hit on search, and it comes up. I searched in all the collections, and no results were found. We're not off to a good start. Why do you think that happened? What did Cambridge call bowls? Nappies. Pretty much. So we'll see a little later on. But thankfully, you've had some experts in the field correct all these things. I'm being facetious. We're trying to correct all those. If you go to the NVSG website, which a lot of you use, and type in Elaine Bowl, you'll get 82 files. The point we're trying to make here is the search engine is different on these websites, not just on those two, but probably every website. And you're going to get different results because there are different rules. So to use the library, you need to use the appropriate rules. So how can you find that out? Read the instructions. I will tell you, the more specific you can be, the happier you're going to be. You'll see that in a minute. So a broad search is still useful. If I take bowl off and just search for Elaine, I get 25 hits. 25 different catalogs, prices, or whatever have Elaine. So just looking at what came up, what looks like to be the oldest catalog? $30.34, right? So if I collected Elaine, and I said, I'm just wondering, because I wonder all this, I like to ask myself questions. I wonder when Elaine first appeared. So I could do a search for Elaine, right? And I'll look for the oldest catalog. Looks like 3034. So I can click on that for search results. And the first page I come to is this 3104 Elaine stemware. And the way to read that is on the page number it says, what was it, 32 something? But I would love to have a set of 20. It doesn't have to be Elaine, it could be Rose Point. Just as an example. Yeah. But you can scroll through there and see different results. So specific is best, like 3550/1, 3550/7D, dolphin. We had someone that's asking, well, how come all the dolphin candlesticks are called dolphins when they're really koi? It's not just Cambridge either, it's Heisey and it's sandwich glass and so forth. So then, as we alluded to with Bowl, we have a language problem. Cambridge was in production for 50 some years, and when they started out, they had these terms like nappy, which is bowl, custard. Anyone know what that is? It's a cup with a handle, but all the way through, they called them custards, comports. You're familiar with that. Candelabrums, bonbons, they had a million bonbons. Molasses can, we would call that a syrup. Ales for little beer things, many, many more things. So what we tried to do when we index this is to put the original term and then what we call it today, so you can find it. So that's all in on the same line. So one problem, I shouldn't say problem, one opportunity leads to the next. So then we have issues with the Miami Valley website, is we have to do changes, and Dave says, handles are a problem, we need to correct that. So I said, okay, I'll go in and correct all 7,000 entries, or probably more, to either one handle, two handle, three handle, no handle, center handle, and so it can be consistent. The same thing with compartment. I know some of the catalogs say part. We had a meeting, 2 to 1. We're going to list them all as compartment, just to be consistent. Sets, 7-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece, whatever it is. 2 light, 1 light, 3 light candlesticks. Some of the entries you'll see, it may not be listed as a 3,400 accessory or a 3,500 accessory, but we've added it because we found it in a price list or somewhere else. And on the Miami Valley website, you'll see, like on Caprice, for example, they'll have Caprice 13. And we put in AKA in the description field, also known as 3550/13, because the Caprice line is 3550. So you can search for it either way. Come on in. So use it with the Miami Valley website, read the navigational aids, read the FAQs, frequently asked questions, practice, practice, practice. You cannot break it. And if you get really frustrated, call me up at 2 in the morning. No, call David at 2. We have different work schedules. I work from about 5 a.m. to about 6 p.m., and Dave works in the late hours, and we cross pages somewhere. So, give me a good search term. Well, this time we're going to try one that works, hopefully, Caprice 71. So you could search for Caprice space 71, or you could search for 3550/71. You'll get the same results. Okay? So in this particular case, we get 3 hits: 4047 catalog, 3839 general catalog, and the 1940 price list. So we can click on one of those, and we get the results. Now, normally on the search, it'll come up with a yellow box rectangle. If the page is black, it'll come up what looks like blue, and then it'll be yellow highlights. Okay? So anything that's highlighted will be your search result. And that's just another page of the same candlestick came up. This is on the different catalog. Same thing. You can see all those hits. And on the price list, you can't see this very well, but down at the bottom it has the price of whatever it is per dozen, $82.50, I guess. And if you wanted it in Alpine, it ran you $90, so a little bit more. Now the prices are per dozen or dozen pairs, like salt and peppers, cream and sugars are pairs. Prices are suggested retail, so that's what normally it would be sold for in the store. The customers that bought from Cambridge achieve generally a 50% discount. And if they're really big volume, maybe they get a little bit more. Dave, did you have a comment?
Back on the last screen, it's a good demonstration of what's wrong with optical character recognition.
Yeah.
You don't see the word Caprice there anywhere. It's actually at the top of the page that is not produced there. And only the 71 number appears down there. So optical character recognition can't put together the words Caprice 71. Just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah. Okay. Grant will love this one. I put that in just for you. You were going to ask me to search for that, weren't you?
Right.
Yeah. Pristine 101-7801. Anyone ever heard of that? So, this may be new, but you can search for pristine space 101/7801, or the pristine line is actually the 1936 line. Yep, that'll save you some typing. So you can search for 1936/101/7801. See, it's worth the price of admission, right?
That's right.
And if we do that, we come up with 4 hits, 49, 53, 48, 49 general price list, 53 general price list. And our first hit, cocktail set with the 6 of the sidecar cocktails, etched Porsche. Anyone like to have that? Would you like it in a different etching? Any suggestions? The low price, you could order that today. The cocktail shakers, a dozen of them for $60. And the sidecar cocktails, a dozen for $9.60. Or if you want the set, $9.80. Remember, that's half. You get it for half price, and it'll be good. Now, I have bad news. It did not come in Minerva. But it did come in Candlelight, Chantilly, Diane, Elaine, Porsche, Rose Point, and Wildflower. I'll take 10 sets in each, please. Yeah. At the bottom, I did the math for you. 192 divided by 12 is $16 a set. Susan might have to loan me a little money, but I could afford one. So even with all those slashes, it comes right up for you. So how to get started, we kind of talked about that. We're mostly Dave. How can we improve it, make it better, more useful? We're adding new stuff all the time. We add literally hundreds of changes every week, sometimes every day. How to best present it. It all started, we were kind of kicking this around, and Dave met with one of your friends, right, at the Preble County Library.
Supervisor of the history
Yeah.
department.
Yeah. And they use Rescarta. So I said, okay, they use Rescarta. Let's see if there are any other better search engines out there or things that do things of this nature, and we really couldn't come up with a better one. So we adopted Rescarta 2. The board approved it, determined that that's the best way to go. So what was involved? Kind of the first thing Dave always says, well, who's going to help me on this? Even though he'd probably forge ahead doing it by himself. So I foolishly raised my hand, and then Christine Smith and Frank, Susan, and a friend that's not even a member of Cambridge yet, Larry Snyder, volunteered to help on this. So we established priorities. We said we want to do the catalogs first. We want to do the main catalogs first. So we did the first ones. I think, did I do the 2729 first? I don't remember. Frank, which one did you do? 3034? No. 4953. Because that one was so short, right? Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. So then after we got those done, I said, let's just start at the beginning and go from old to new so we don't lose track of where we are. Then we did the specialty catalogs. The good news on most of those, they're shorter than the pharmaceutical catalogs. They are so fun. You have 36 different sizes of funnels and, yeah. Price lists are not bad, except they're boring. All those little lines have to be entered, circular letters, like we said, we haven't got to fully index yet. So, all right, how do we do this? It's actually not hard. It just takes a while. So let's just pretend we're going to work on indexing the 3034 catalog. So the first step, get the catalog. Or we can give you an online copy, digital copy. then turn it to page 1. Actually, we're going to do the title page and all the other pages, but go to page 1. What's the first thing you see on page 1? That 2-light candlestick, right? So I'm going to open my Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to put, Dave will send you this boilerplate copy, page 1, and I'm going to go to the Miami Valley website where that candlestick was, and I'm going to copy, highlight, click, Control-C, whichever way you like to use it, and come over to the Excel spreadsheet, Control-V to enter, or however you like to do it, and then you move on to the second item on that page, which is the bowl. Go to Miami Valley website, find it, copy it, go back to the Excel spreadsheet. Doesn't this sound like fun? Yeah. Then, notice there's an identical candlestick as the first one. What should we do? Do it again. Then if you look in the price list, it may say 3-piece console set. So then guess what? Then you have to do the whole thing with the console set entry and paste it in too. So if you search for console set, all 3 of those items should be highlighted. Fun. And guess what happens after you get done with page 1? Then you go to page 2 and page 3. Yeah. I don't remember, Dave, do you remember what the longest number of Excel rows? Something that's almost 8,000, I think, on one catalog.
Probably the 49.
Yeah. And it takes a while. So when someone gets done with the Excel spreadsheet, the work is only beginning, because then we send it to Dave, and he is going to change everything in correct format for indexing. For example, where it says 6-inch, the inch mark, that can't go. That 6-inch has to be changed to 6-IN. And if it's 6 3/8, that's even more fun. But at the beginning of the home page are explanations on fractions. But the good news is, if you want to go and search for 6 3/8 something, you'll be able to search for that. Okay?
Let me interject one thing here. One thing you don't realize until you get into something like this, we got the quotation marks representing inch. There's 3 different ways it could be used. One is for a quotation, and the other is for ditto. Ditto, the same information from the line above, and we can't index quotation marks, so we got to get the whole actual description in there.
So then after Dave does his magic, and it looks like this, see how the 6 has been changed to 6-IN, the 12-half, and all the other changes. At the front of the page, at the top of the page, it said E744 Apple Blossom, but none of the items down below said Apple Blossom, so we're going to add that to the end of each one of those line entries. And if it's a 3400 line, then we're going to add that. And so you can see it's a little, some people would say anal, but we want to make sure that the correct information is there for you. Check for accuracy, all the dimensions are converted, necessary changes. Then we go to the indexing process. You mean after all this we haven't done any indexing yet? Not yet. So we open up Rescarta, and what we're going to do is go to that first Excel line, and it says that candlestick. So Dave is going to draw a meticulous rectangle around that first candlestick, and then copy the information out of Excel, paste it into the page in Rescarta, and move on to the next section. And then when we're done with page 1, we save it, move to page 2, and go on. You can see there in the center between the candlesticks and the bowl, there's a little bit of a white space. That's kind of unavoidable because the rectangles are crossing each other. So if you see that, it's not a mistake. That's because it's so crowded on the page. So that's the simplified version. In some cases, we've had to do a little re-indexing as we learned the process, and again, that requires a little bit of time. But it's rewarding. I like to do it because finding new things all the time, it's not difficult. You have to pay attention when you're doing it. It does require knowledge at Cambridge class. In other words, we couldn't call up some company and say, could you do this for us? Because it won't be done correctly. They may not know what a console set is or whatever. So, library and home, FAQs. I mentioned whether it's fully indexed. It is fully indexed means manually. We went through that process I just described. OCR, we just feed it in. It's pretty fast, but you're going to lose some things. It's not going to be as complete. What's next? What we are really working on are term cards, and if you have more interested in that, the second half of the presentation tomorrow will include term cards. But we have, NCC has in their possession about 15,000 term cards. So how many times do you think I have to scan? 30,000, front and back. We have only 3,000 to go. Other documents, financial records, there's just never-ending multiple. The good news is we have a lot of stuff. The bad news is we don't have it all. There's some dark periods. So if you have items of interest or interested in assisting, we're all willing. So this is where we open it up for questions if you have any. I just encourage you to open it, play with it, do a search or two. Try to be specific if you can. If it's not working, please feel free to contact us and we'll help where we can. Yep.
Apartments, like 3 or 2, are they CMPT or are they spelled all the way out?
They're spelled all the way out.
They're spelled all the way out.
Yeah, if it's an abbreviation, we spelled it all the way out.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
So Comport is spelled all the way out and...
Right. Is it both way piece? Do we abbreviate it PC? I think it's spelled all the way out. Yeah. And like if it's 3-piece, 4-piece, it's 3-piece. It's spelled all the way out. Yeah. Yep.
You mentioned you were missing some things. Will you be listing those things that you know that you're missing in case you want people to get a hold of you and say, I have this, do you want it? But
yeah, you feel free to do that. If you see something we don't have, feel free to contact us, either on this or on the Miami Valley website. We're not perfect. We're human. Sometimes typos or things get in there. Let us know, please. Especially if anyone has a copy of the color catalog of 1924. We would love to be able to scan that. It's the only color catalog Cambridge made. Lynn Welker, I believe, has 2 or 3 pages. I'm sorry?
Which catalog was that?
The one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
24. The Art Glass catalog.
Art glass.
Yeah.
I think it was 23.
Is it? Yeah.
It's advertised, that's how we know it existed.
Yeah.
You say it's printed in color?
Yeah.
Yep.
You said Lynn has a couple pages on it?
The pages Lynn has perfumes on it, but we would love to see what else was included in that catalog. We have a few stickers with Cambridge Art Glass, decorated azurite, maybe some other opaques, but there's has to be some really nice pieces that appeared in that catalog. Yep.
Can you type in like Harman sets and come out with different types of glass that was put together that way? Or will it do it?
This, probably not.
Okay, because I ran into, I have with me, to bring them, but there's 4 colors, but it looks like almost like a 7 or 8 ounce Coke glass.
Yeah. You'd
I
have,
have no idea if it's Cambridge or someone else.
you'd have better luck with that type of search on the MVSG website. Because if you search for that, if we have it or taken a photo of it, you'll see all the colors that it came in.
But I think one was topaz, one was
Right.
heather bloom, and a couple others.
Yeah.
And just, it's an old step.
Why are us Cambridge collectors like that? Yeah, I have one, it's a perfectly good one, but now all of a sudden I have to collect all the colors.
I just want to tell all sorts of states and stuff. And make
It's a dangerous disease, it really is.
I would say, add into that, if it had heather bloom in it, it was not sold as a Harlequin set, so it's probably been assembled
Right.
by somebody else. Heather bloom was not made when they introduced the Harlequins in 1942 or whatever. it was.
And it's confusing too, because there's Harlequin sets, and then there's Veritone sets, and depending on the time period. And if there is an exception, it's probably from Cambridge. We try to put logic to a lot of this, and that usually does not apply. Rose Point collectors know that strange things appear. Yeah, I appreciate everyone coming in. Sir, if you have a question later on or whatever, feel free to buttonhole it, either one of us, and we'll be happy to help.
Said there was going to be a second half of this presentation
Tomorrow. Well, it's a different presentation tomorrow. What I'm going to tell you is some of the new things that we found during the archival process and this process, new things that you may not have seen before. Yeah, Saturday.
Some things were called comports and some things were called...
Comport, right.
Are they now all comports or all compotes?
I don't believe I've ever seen Cambridge literature using the word compote.
I've seen it in Miami Valley.
Well, that's possible.
So I need to search for that, correct that then. Thank you.
So the correct word is comport, as far as Cambridge is.
Yes, comport. Yeah.